Alright, hey there, it is Tom here on the behalf of Indie Structural Productions once again with another scum build video. So, there we go, I had to bang that out a bit. So last episode, you saw me clamp up the body wings for the scum. I was gonna say that phrase a little differently. You saw me glue up the body wings to the huge freaking neck block that this thing had. So now that it's dried overnight, it's time to unclamp. Now, I am literally doing this commentary like a few hours before I'm uploading this video. I woke up early just to finish the video on time. This is the first time that I've actually run it this late, and I'm very sorry for the amount of energy that I have at this point, but I'll try and make this commentary a little bit more energetic than I'll try and make it a little bit more energetic. Anywho, on to the bandsaw, my favorite machine in the machine shop. I love this thing. It's pretty straightforward. I already have my lines to follow because I drew those on before I even glued up. So now it's all a matter of just removing the excess. It's a little awkward because it is a neck through, so I can't move the guitar around as much as I want to. So every now and then I have to stop, pull the blade out, and go in from another direction. I have sped this up by about 500%, so you know, you're seeing this bit condensed down. This is where having done most of the body work would have really come in handy. I mean, sure, I can still easily get to everything, but you know, had I made the body pretty much almost 100% complete and then glued on the wings, it would have been even easier. But with the next one then, I guess. Again, this is probably where I kind of run out of space. Yep, there we go. Ran out of space. Have to pull out the blade and go at it from a different angle. And then on to fretboard radiusing the fretboard. Now this is where something really funny happened while I was editing the animations. I was literally rendering the animation right here, and then I look up during my tracking. Yeah, I was tracking. That was it. I look up during my tracking and see this. I have no idea when I wrote that. That must have been forever ago when I first initially, you know, edited these videos together. But hell, I thought I'd leave it in here because it just made me laugh. So yeah, even editing sanding is somewhat dull. So I guess I decided that I was going to leave that sort of memo for myself when I'm bored to death at animating, sanding stuff. So yeah, that's pretty funny. And checking the radius. Now, the radius I went for is 16 inches, and that is fairly flat, but it's just a feel that the client actually likes quite a bit, so that's why we decided to go for it. One of the very important things here is that when you're radiusing or using a leveling beam or anything like that, is not to really press down at all. You kind of let the sandpaper do all the work. And the other thing to keep in mind is that you have to keep going in a straight line. You have to go perpendicular to the neck, because if you don't, your radius is also gonna shift. And unless you're doing that intentionally, that's not really a good thing. Now on to sanding. Seriously, I love this Merca sander. I have to get myself one of these things. But Someday, someday. So, a very easy way of going about this and flattening the back would have been to get a plane out and just plane everything down. But with the amount of glue and everything, I would have really screwed up a couple of blades, and I didn't want to really do that. So I thought the safe option would be just to sand everything flat. I have in the past also at this stage put the entire guitar through a planer. I did that with the Monolith guitar, if you've seen that video, and yeah, I gathered quite a lot of looks because it was a neck through instrument and I'm just putting it through a planer. Yeah, I could do that, but it's a bit hazardous to say the least. Fun, scary, but hazardous. Now, onto the bobbin sander. This one got fixed, so easy enough to go back to work on it. And this is one of those moments where I really like working on the shape of the guitar, because quite literally this is where the shape really comes out. You really define what the guitar is going to feel like and look like with a spindle sander, or bobbin sander in other words. And a very important stage to do right. That's why I've gone back on the drawing of the guitar with a Sharpie, so I can actually see the line a whole lot better, a lot easier to follow. The shape itself, I must say, it is based off of Ibanez RG, but with the top shifted over a little bit. And then of course the butt of the guitar, so to speak, has been joined up, so it makes that asymmetrical shape. One of the things that makes this guitar look so strange, oh yeah, and I have modified the lower horn because that was something that was very near and dear to the client's heart, that on RGs the lower horn looks a little bit too dainty, that he wanted a little bit more of a chunky horn there, so got that fixed up. Now the thing that makes this guitar look strange, or more so, it makes it look rather a lot smaller than what it actually is. It is huge, but it looks small because the neck joint is still at the 16th fret, even though it's a 24 fret instrument. Usually with 24 frets you would join at the 19th fret or so, and that way it will look pretty much the same as well, it would look what it's supposed to look like. With the much deeper set neck, it also means that access to the frets is a little bit more difficult, but we'll tackle that later on. There is reason in madness, and this is also a lot due to the fact that the client likes very big guitars, very chunky, heavy guitars, but also has a fascination for the Jackson dinky stuff. Now, as this isn't a dinky shape, it's not smaller, it is the same size as an RG, but it just creates a sort of illusion to the eye with the deeper set neck that it looks a lot smaller. I found that kind of interesting. Now I'm doing the end grain on disc sander just because it will grant me a much better result and keep the back square, which is also rather important. Now, in the previous shot you might have seen the record spindle sander with the small spindle on it. Well, I could have used that here, except it was not working, it was not functioning, and I had to keep on moving. So, off to rasping everything down for the cutaways. I couldn't do this on any of the other spindles or bobbin sanders or anything else because the Triton one was not working and we didn't have appropriately sized spindles to do the cutaways properly. So, you know, this will get the job done. A little bit messy. Would help if I had a better vise. But yeah, like I said, gets the job done. Just gonna be a whole lot more sanding and cleanup involved. Also not too worried because the lower horn is getting some access carves as well. So this is just refining the joint with the neck. Now this portion, I borrowed one of Tom's planes just to get that joint at the neck with the body wings a little bit better from when I had used the leveling beam and a saw to get here. And as it is one of Tom's tools, it is really rather sharp. So the job was done very, very quickly. Now, on to this fun little part. This is curly birch. Well, that's the closest English naming that this has. But it is pretty much the most expensive type of wood you can get from Finland, and I found a literal metric shitload at my grandfather's workshop of this stuff. It is a lot thicker veneer. It's I think 1.2 mil. Even broke my scalpel blade there. But yeah, I love this stuff. It's so gorgeous, it's so pretty, and lots of variety in it. It was used a lot in like the 1950s for like furniture and stuff, so it's always reminiscent of that era to me. But yeah, seeing as I had a lot of it, I suggested using it for this guitar, and sent a lot of pictures to try and find the best piece and the best part, because these pieces are about, you know, a meter in width and a meter and a half in length. So there was a lot to choose from, and I think I had like 50 pieces of this. So yeah, chose the best part. Now, in order for me to cut the access for the neck, I just used a pencil there to mark out where the fretboard or the neck sits on a piece of paper, and cutting that out with a scalpel blade. This should give me a sort of template to follow and place on the veneer then. Very simple process when you think about it. It's just you need to be careful, because it is not just a couple of straight lines. Well, it's just a couple of straight lines, but the angles and stuff need to be correct. Just marking where exactly the template will sit. And yes, using a ruler to do this just to be that much safer. Now I do have a small overhang on the fretboard, so the line where the veneer would meet the neck is somewhat hidden. Again, there are easier ways of doing this if you're not doing a neck through instrument, but seeing as I am, this is the best option I found to work. Just joining up those two lines. I'm doing this in a few different cuts because the initial cut just basically scores the veneer, and then the next few cut through. And I'm also changing the angle of my scalpel blade so that I'm getting a little bit more of the blade cutting each time. I mean, the difference is like microscopic, but nonetheless, it does make a difference. And there we are. Nice and clean.
In the words of me at this very point in time.
Off!
Get the f out!
Not quite. Almost.
Try and just force it on.
Yeah, what did she say?
No, you got loads of it, you can do another.
Oh, that's the right. Done! Put a
Bridge on that, we fine.
bridge on that and...
Might
we're
catch
right.
it in a t-shirt.
Nah, no, it'll be
We
okay.
just have to deal with that shit.
Yeah. See, that fixes the binding issue though. Now you have air binding. Yeah.
Like thinking
See?
air binding.
Tone.
Yeah,
Tone binding.
chambers.
Yes.
Under the top.
Yes.
Yeah. Make it resonate.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Tone chambers under the top. That is exactly the reasoning behind all of this. Now, in order for me to glue this top down, I can't put it in a vacuum bag because of the neck. So I have to come up with a clamping call in order to actually be able to clamp down. And because it's a veneer, oh boy, I'm gonna need a lot of clamps. And a couple of dry runs, for damn sure. So there we are. Quickly drew out the lines I wanted, and now off to, once again, the bandsaw just to cut that out. Fortunately, because it is a clamping call, it doesn't have to be all that exact. It does need to be big enough to spread the pressure along the entire shape, but that's about it. And there we are. With a few tips from Tom, I was able to do my dry run and make it look somewhat doable. It is pretty damn scary to do this, but I had faith that I might be able to pull it through. Yes, I was panicking about it getting all completely screwed up, but fortunately it all worked out. Now, this is one of those things where I'm regretting the stupid joke of tracking a glue bottle during the animation process of these videos, because there's so much movement, it's such a pain. But I'm committing to this joke. It is a stupid joke that I've kept on doing ever since doing the Robert Fripp model videos for Crimson Guitars. But man, sometimes you gotta suffer for the art, so to speak. But I can tell you, trying to animate this at about way too little sleep last night, fairly late in the evening, was not all that fun. bad thing is that whenever you're gluing something and clamping up, you have to be pretty quick about things. And there was the choice of glue as well that will give you the best result for this and most amount of time clamping up. So the alkaline glue, thank God not the fast set one, but this one pretty close to Type Bond. It has enough time for me to clamp up without it getting too dried up. But I did still, there wasn't any time to waste. I had to be fairly meticulous in putting down the clamps in the correct sort of order, and as I did in my dry run. Good thing that I did a dry run, so I knew exactly where each clamp would sit and how they would sit and how they would like spread the pressure. So yeah, all in all, it went good. Used pretty much every single clamp I could find, but you know, it's all good. Even had to borrow, I think, one clamp from Tom, just because I ran out of F-clamps. Checking that everything looks good. One more for good measure. There we are. Now to declamp this monstrosity. So yeah, I'm still, at this point, still stressing about whether or not everything actually looks alright.
Oh.
But everything did turn out good. And then it's onward to cleaning up all the excess veneer. Admittedly, at first I was doing this with the scalpel because I was afraid that the router table would rip and tear. Then I remembered that we had these extremely good radian cutters, so I need not worry. They cut through the stuff like butter and left a very nice smooth cut. I'm still going fairly slow because I don't want to risk actually ripping any of the veneer, because that would suck. All the glue is kind of giving me a little bit of trouble. Should have cleaned that up first. But yeah. Slow and easy does it. There's not really much to it. It's fairly self-explanatory. Just cleaning things up, making everything look nice. So I'm gonna leave you here, and thank you very much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, because that's what YouTube's algorithms actually appreciate, so my video will be seen by other people. And if you haven't subscribed and you like what you see, please do subscribe. If you have subscribed and you like what you see, well, I'll see you next week, hopefully. Alright guys, bye bye, see you later.